You know that moment when you realize your relationship with your kids has changed? After years of raising them, guiding them, putting them first, suddenly they're treating you differently. Maybe they brush off your advice. Maybe they act like your opinions don't matter. Or worst of all, maybe they make you feel like you're just in the way. It hurts, doesn't it? When your own children don't show you the respect you deserve, it's easy to get angry. You might want to remind them of all you've done for them. But here's the thing, getting mad won't help. In fact, it usually makes things worse. The good news? There are better ways to handle this. Today, I want to share 6 practical things you can do when your kids aren't respecting you. These aren't about arguments or guilt trips. They're simple changes that can completely shift how your kids see and treat you. Let's break it down. 1. Stop trying so hard to please them. We all do this as parents. We bend over backwards to make our kids happy. We say yes when we want to say no. We rearrange our lives for them. We bite our tongue to keep the peace. We think if we just do enough, they'll appreciate us more. But here's what actually happens. The harder you chase their approval, the less they respect you. Real respect comes from self-respect, not from being a doormat. When you always put their needs first, you're teaching them your feelings don't matter. I knew a woman, let's call her Margaret, who was strong and independent when she was younger. But as she got older, she let her kids make all the decisions. She never spoke up when they talked down to her. "I just want everyone to get along," she'd say. But her kids stopped valuing her. They saw her as someone who'd always go along with whatever they wanted. If your kids don't respect you, don't beg for it. Earn it. Start setting boundaries. Say no when you need to. Speak up, even if it's uncomfortable. When you respect yourself, they'll start seeing you differently. 2. Don't argue, show them how it's done. When your kids dismiss you or talk down to you, your first instinct might be to argue, to remind them of all you've done. But here's the thing, you can't argue someone into respecting you. Think about it. When has yelling ever made someone respect you more? Respect isn't about words, it's about how you carry yourself. If you react with anger, you're just proving they can push your buttons. Take Frank, a retired teacher who commanded respect in the classroom. But at home, his grown kids treated him like an afterthought. They'd laugh off his advice or ignore him. At first, he argued back, but it only made things worse. Then he changed his approach. He stopped fighting and started listening. He spoke calmly, stood his ground, and didn't get dragged into drama. Slowly, his kids noticed. They saw a man who didn't need their approval, and that's when they started respecting him. The lesson? Keep your cool, hold your head high, and let your actions do the talking. 3. Don't rely on them for your happiness. This is tough, but important. You can't depend on your kids to make you happy. Of course you love them and want their love back, but if they sense you need their attention to feel valued, the power shifts. Here's how it works. People respect those who are emotionally independent. If you're always calling, always needing reassurance, they'll feel smothered, not grateful. Helen was that mom, always waiting by the phone, calling her kids daily to say how much she missed them. But instead of bringing them closer, it annoyed them. They started seeing her calls as a chore. Then she switched things up. She stopped waiting around and started living her own life. Hobbies, friends, new interests. And guess what? Her kids started calling her more. They respected her time because she respected it first. The takeaway? The less you need them, the more they'll value you. 4. Set clear boundaries and stick to them. Here's the hard truth. If you let your kids disrespect you, they'll keep doing it. Not because they're bad people, but because people treat you how you allow them to. Setting boundaries isn't about cutting them off. It's about deciding what you will and won't accept. And most importantly, enforcing those rules. Robert was a no-nonsense businessman, but at home, his grown kids walked all over him. They'd interrupt him, criticize his choices, and he'd let it slide. Then, one day, he'd had enough. When his son talked over him, he said calmly, "I'll finish when you're ready to listen." When his daughter rolled her eyes, he said, "You don't have to agree, but you will respect me." At first, they resisted. But when they saw he wasn't backing down, they started treating him differently. If your kids don't respect you, ask yourself, are you letting them? Because if you don't stand up for yourself, no one else will. 5. Don't give so much if they don't appreciate it. Parents give endlessly, time, money, help, often without even a thanks. And here's what happens. When you keep giving to people who don't appreciate it, they start expecting it. Your kindness becomes their entitlement. George learned this the hard way. He was always bailing his kids out, financially, emotionally, you name it. But instead of gratitude, he got demands. When he finally needed help, they were too busy, so he changed. He stopped overgiving. He started saying no. And after the initial shock, his kids started valuing what he did give because they realized it wasn't guaranteed. The lesson? Stop pouring into people who don't fill your cup. Generosity should be appreciated, not expected. 6. Have your own life. Nothing earns respect like a full, interesting life. If your kids see you waiting around for their calls, making them the center of your world, they'll start seeing you as, well, kind of sad. But if you're busy, engaged, and happy, that's attractive. Eleanor, a widow, used to smother her kids with attention after her husband died. They pulled away. Then she joined a book club, started traveling, volunteered, and suddenly, her kids were calling her to hear about her adventures. The takeaway? Live your life. Pursue your passions. When you're not desperate for their attention, they'll give it freely. Final thoughts. Respect isn't something you can demand. It's something you earn. If your kids aren't treating you right, try this. Stop begging for their approval. Show them respect by how you act. Don't depend on them for happiness. Set and enforce clear boundaries. Only give when it's appreciated. Build a life that excites you. Do this, and over time, they'll see you differently. Not as someone they can ignore, but as someone they admire. Not because you asked, but because you earned it. Thanks for watching. If this resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. And if you found it helpful, share it with someone who might need it.